All right, buddy. Guess what?
We are live.
Indeed we are. My man.
It's going down.
What's happening? This is going to be a surprise to most people, and we were just kind of doing our thing today and decided to jump on here and do some other things. So I don't anticipate we're going to fill up the chat too quickly because nobody is expecting this to happen right now, but it is happening. And let's talk our sponsors just quick before I get everything set up on this end, okay?
Yes, we are fueled by Supplement King, Portage La Prairie. As you can see right beside Ryan's big head, that's the only thing that does not block out that entire wall is the Supplement King. And we have
income.
Israel Arm Wrestling Club. Visit them on Israel.ca or Facebook at Israel Arm Wrestling Club. Check them out for all your arm wrestling needs, tables, equipment, gym equipment. They got the best equipment out there right now. And we have Western Survivor Beef Jerky, the best beef jerky in the world today. We also buy Insight Arms, custom-made, manufactured, precision firearms and rifles by Harley Green. And that is it.
That's it.
Who am I missing?
I don't know, but I got my little pack of Western Survivor beef jerky sitting right here.
I got to get Adam to send
my in-show snack.
You know what?
Brad's Lawns in the house. Brad's Lawns. We haven't seen Brad's Lawns in a little while. All right. It looks like everything is set up on our end, my friend. We are good to go. And I got to tell you that ahead of there's a little bit of insanity in my life because I did that show yesterday and they got more attention than in the span of time since it's been up, which is less than 24 hours. It's gotten more attention than any video I've done ever, which also tells me that the King of the Table event transcended arm wrestling hardcores a little bit into what could be considered a more mainstream. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, Jeff.
Me neither. I'm just.
It's put it into like a mainstream audience. Yeah. So we have Devon with his amazing performance that I talked about. So let's start there. We want to start there, Jeff. What are your thoughts? I've shared mine already.
I mean, fantastic performance. I think it was unexpected by many that it would go down in that fashion. I guess to me, it's kind of one of the reasons why I hate making predictions because, man, this is why we have the matches right here because we do not know the outcome. And at any given, it kind of goes back to my point about Matt Mask, maybe being the guy that could pin Michael Todd right now. And everybody, oh, you're on crack. No, it's not about, it's, you never make a prediction. You just you try to make the best educated guess on who's going to win a match. You're not predicting nothing. You got a 50-50 chance of predicting the outcome or guessing it right. So I don't like doing it because I just like to be a fan of what I'm witnessing. And I was a fan yesterday of what we saw. I don't think anybody saw that going down like that. It did. I think it was amazing on so many different levels. One, because of how he got to that level as quick as he did, what was going on. I remember talking to Devon back in January. I talked to him on the phone there for a bit, and he had mentioned that, he was in a bad place. And, and I'm saying this because he said it publicly already. And I don't know the details, nor would I get into them, even if I did. But, so to see that evolution from then to what transpired yesterday is truly awesome. It's good for the sport. It's good for everybody, and it's especially good for Devon. I think it's good for Michael too. So great job by Devon, and I think it was he pulled off something tremendous.
Absolutely. It was an amazing thing to witness. Now, I want to address two things before we get into that. Well, first of all, Michael Todd. I know I don't have to say this to him. Don't feel awful about this.
I don't think he does either.
Devon Larratt was in the exact same position when he pulled Dennis.
Yep.
And you saw what happened. He made the big comeback. The other thing I want to kind of address is, and I was asked about this, Brett Klein just said, how do you feel about that left-handed match with Devon now? I will answer you. And I am going to answer you tomorrow.
Can I answer it?
Yep.
And I'm going to say this. I mean, I don't know why people ask that question. Ryan Espy is a professional athlete. Ryan Espy and any professional athlete never take the easy route. So to ask him what he thinks of that, I can guarantee you that sparks Ryan even more, to the point where, hey man, he just seen how solid he looked. Ryan has always been the guy to want to prove himself against the best in the world. So to say, how do you feel? I would imagine that you're sitting there thinking, I really want that left-handed match now, more than you did maybe yesterday.
I want to have a conversation with Devon Larratt. Not publicly, but I will attempt to get that match. I'm not going to run away from it. And I'm going to make a whole video about it tomorrow. But today's show is not about me. I want to talk about the greatness that we witnessed. And with the attention that all the videos I've gotten that have come out, it's moved arm wrestling to somewhere different. We're in a slightly different place. It's a little bit insane. You had two of the greatest going against each other, and now anybody that says that, like, there's some really weird comments on these videos, like it was fixed. I cannot stand it. Every time I watch a UFC event, it's the same thing.
Oh my God, man.
Isn't
it ridiculous?
Devon Larratt showed up. You don't go like, if Devon showed up looking like Devon 6 months ago and he did that to Michael Todd, maybe. But Devon Larratt showed up clearly having put in a tremendous amount of work. And why would, if they were just going to have a fake match, why would they do that?
Well, it just comes down to this, Ryan. It's because, the Michael Todd fans, here's what happened, and I truly believe this. This was not a fixed match. It's just completely asinine even to just suggest that. But what I did see is, I think Michael Todd knew right after that first match that he wasn't coming out of this with a win. I did see that, and I do believe there was a level of him that conceded and almost gave up and didn't have maybe 100% effort. Maybe that's why people said it looked fixed or whatever. I think he knew right away that, and Michael Todd does have Michael Todd's a very, very competitive guy. He may come across arrogant, but listen, I mean, I've spent time, riding around Idaho with this guy in his car and went for supper with him, and he's a really good dude. He really is. And he's just extremely, and he may come across arrogant, but he's just super competitive. He don't like to lose. And I think after that first match, I think he knew he was in a world of trouble, and it was just he conceded. So
there's two things. Michael Todd has never been a great, aggressively offensive arm wrestler.
Correct.
And Devon's weakness has always been maybe some play at center, being put into a defensive position. Devon was never at risk of being put in a defensive position. He looked so strong at the center of the table that it was like all obvious lanes to defeat Devon have been closed.
And you can notice, you're 100% right, Ryan. I think you notice that the very first hit, Devon's usually a guy that can catch a guy here. His arm didn't, it was pretty obvious he was fairly solid right from the get-go.
And he put himself in such an advantageous position against a potential King's move that it wouldn't have really mattered if it was. And it did get initiated once, and I think Devon let it happen.
That's right.
He held it and pushed through it. So, I mean, impressive performance. I got what I wanted out of that match. And if I remember all the times I've told you this, we talked about this a bit yesterday, Jeff. I always said that I want whoever wins to have a dominant performance.
You did say
The
that.
reason for that is I don't want any questions left unanswered, and I do not want to see an immediate rematch because there's tons of other more intriguing matches for both of these guys out there.
100%.
Put Gary against Michael. That's a low-hanging fruit. Put those two guys against each other in the WAL.
Who's that?
Jerry Cataract.
Oh, yeah.
They got to run that back.
Yeah.
Put Devon against Levan, Levan, any of those guys. Bring over Gennady and stick him against Devon somewhere. And if it's a left-handed match, well, that's a whole different story. But right arm, there's guys out there that aren't under contract at PAL because that's a whole different subject because Igor doesn't seem to want to make that match. Even though I think Devon is probably right in, he might beat Levan. And guys are telling me, some guys are agreeing with me, some guys are telling me I'm crazy. I think he has a real shot, and he might kick the shit out of him. Like, he might not even be close.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it comes down to. We don't know if he will or he won't. We have to see the match to go. I mean, I think it's I think there's some evidence there that, I think he has a very good shot at winning. And it just needs to happen. Anybody say you're out to lunch, how do you say that?
Yeah. Hey, did you see those people comparing me to some guy named BitBoy?
No.
They said, I don't know, didn't know BitBoy was into arm wrestling. It's actually pretty funny because we do look identical.
Who's BitBoy?
He's got a YouTube channel that's very popular. He does big.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look it up now.
Yeah, do it later. Make a note. Don't leave and go look that up. Check it out later. So let's go to Coach Ray. And oh my God, why can't I remember the guy's name ever?
I had some.
Someone in the chat help me out. Coach Ray, his opponent.
I had a couple guys from India actually message me and say you need to watch this guy.
A different guy?
No, his last name's Mazahar.
Yes. Now he looked Mazahir. Yes, I remember.
Oh yeah, Mazahar Sidhu.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the guy looks super impressive. And that's the thing about being an ultra technical arm wrestler is over 6 rounds, you can find a lane. And the second Coach Ray figured out that he could pretty much dominate this guy in the strap, the tide completely changed. And by the time match 6 had rolled around, it was complete one-sided domination due to fatigue. And kudos to Coach Ray for pulling that out, making it 3-3, forcing a tiebreaker, almost losing on weirdo fouls. Because that was, if you watch that match, there was no visible foul happening on. There was a couple obvious ones, but some of the ones they were calling, that down ref, when Ray actually started giving it to him a little bit,
right?
He deserved to be given shit for that. Just because an elbow is moving on the pad doesn't mean it's a foul. And but anyway, things panned out. It was a great way to kick off the show. It looked like it was going to be a 6-0 sweep.
Yeah, Sandhu looked good coming out of the gate there. He looked really strong.
Yeah, and super good, which makes him an amazing tournament arm wrestler. Super matches are a completely different story. And when you pull the same guy, you can find that spot if you have a versatile repertoire. Yeah. Anyway,
I know there was one.
Kudos to my countryman from Latvia.
Your countryman?
Yeah, that's my ancestry is Latvia.
What was it?
Yeah.
There was one really good match, and I can't remember who did the move. It went straight into a hook. Maybe it was Coach Ray that pulled it out of a hook into just a very nice transition into a top roll with a pin, or maybe it was Sandhu. I can't remember, but I remember that one stuck out for me. It was just a beautiful transition. Almost like a John.
Yeah. It was actually, I think, match 3.
Maybe it was.
Mazahir actually went in. Ray got him in a hook.
Yes.
He just almost It was an outside top roll.
Right.
Just peeled his hand right open. Yeah. But at that moment, you saw the signs that even though it was a quick pin and you saw the signs of fatigue starting to set in, like he was slowing down at that point. And match 4, you know, he needed to win match 4 and he didn't. And then it was all Ray. So it was awesome.
Yeah, very good match. I thought obviously that was one of the more exciting. Well, there was only 3 on the card, but that was definitely the exciting match of the. Well, I guess it was all pretty exciting, but that one was a really good war. I love those come from behind matches.
It was a nice kickoff to the event.
Yeah,
and
I just wanted to say this, and we've got to give a shout out to Larry Wheels. I really liked the production. I mean, nobody should be getting down on Larry. That maybe was a little rough around the edges, but I think for a foundation for his first promotion, he did a pretty good job.
Hey, listen, was Steve Kaplan in the audience? Because on Steve Kaplan's Instagram,
I have no idea.
There was photos of the event as if he was sitting in the audience.
Oh, possibly.
So I find that very, very interesting that this could be a partnership going forward.
I think there already was talks of a partnership going forward, so that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I loved it. It was crazy. Yeah. And we had, man, when I was sharing the links to the pay-per-view, it was getting picked up and shared by like supplement companies. And I saw Mike O'Hearn was on Devon's talking about it on his channel, which is amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like okay, so that's huge.
Yeah. He was talking about Devon doing something incredibly inspiring and then shared the link. Like,
that's incredible. Yeah, see, I don't know. Oh, man. I'm kind of jumping all over the map here, but whoever is the fucking moderator of arm wrestling discussion needs to shut that shit down. Because
Which part? I don't spend a lot of time there. I don't have
the negativity towards people. Like, fuck me. Like, they're so hard on Michael. I mean, I guess it's part of the sport. I guess it doesn't matter what sport you're in. You're going to have people that don't like a football team or a hockey team. But fuck, there's just some ridiculous posts on that site. It just pisses me right off. Like, when you got 2 guys that travel halfway across the country to throw down and they fucking just rag on them for the loss. It's just, what is wrong with people?
Guys get beat. Everybody gets beat. Hermes Desperini comes in with super chat from out of nowhere. 499 says, if there was an East-West showdown, who would you want to see? Let's say 5 matches. Devon and Levan, obviously, the highlight match. Love your stuff, Ryan. Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, you got to go, if you're doing a strictly right-handed event, it's got to be North America.
I think Engen's hit it out of the park with his card.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job. It's not a tough card to put together. I mean, doing super heavyweight, you throw Michael in there for sure, Devon, Jerry, Chafee, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you could throw matches together for days, and I think outside, oh man, like if you go to, you know, like even the 198s or, I mean, you could throw matches together to your blue in the face.
Versus RVJ, man, that's a crazy match.
That is exactly, like, man, like, oh.
Hey, listen, the other thing is here, you want to hear a crazy thought? Devon Larratt, whether he is number 1 in the world or not, won't be determined by a Devon Larratt match. If Dave Chafee beats Levan, I think Devon moves to number 1. There it is. Anyway, let's talk Schoolboy. Who the hell thought he would come in here from basically a 200-pound guy, shows up at like 270? Who expected that?
Yeah, I mean, oh man, like I mean, to be completely honest, I'm not surprised that it went that way. Even though I did pick Larry to win, I think we're just throwing shit out there, but I'm not surprised. I thought Larry would certainly have a lot more. I mean, that was a legitimate one-sided beatdown.
Yeah, it was good for Larry for hanging in there.
Oh, 100%. And here's the thing I like about Larry. maybe a little bit more than I liked about the Michael Todd Devon Larry matches. There was no quit in Larry Wheels. So great on him for doing that. He went all 6 rounds and battled as hard as he could.
Larry Wheels does not think the same way, and I'm not going to pretend that I know him or know what he's all about. He doesn't think the same way as most people think. Larry Wheels, a lot of things come easy for him. A lot of things. And I think one of the reasons he's so into arm wrestling is because he's found that thing that is not easy in the strength world. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a real long, hard road for him to get to the peak of this world.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, essentially what you're saying is in the bodybuilding world or the strength world, he's genetically gifted, and that's come to him really. And then when you look at the arm wrestling world, it's a lot more deeper challenge for him. And
I know a little. I know a little about Larry's history, and he's not the kind of guy that bites off. Like, he doesn't want easy things. He wants to, and this is just me paraphrasing and trying to think like Larry. I think he wants the challenge of trying to get from somewhere where he is a novice to being considered even in with the pros. And he's a ways off of that. Like, there are right now a couple hundred super heavyweights that can beat Larry Wheels.
Yeah.
And he has a journey where he can chip away at that. Matchmaking is going to be important for him. And one of the
I don't even think it should be matchmaking. I really think Larry should jump in some tournaments.
It's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
He needs to get in the tournaments and pull a variety of arm wrestlers. That's right. Just like a brand new arm wrestler should.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's going to be hard. It's like trying to get, what can I say without being mocked here? It's like trying to get The Rock to act in your kid's Christmas concert. Like, it's, you've got this superstar and you're trying to bring him down to a level. And anyone that shows, I'm just reading the comments. Anyone that has Larry Wheels show up at your tournament, well, your tournament's going to be 100 times bigger.
100%.
Yeah, he just needs to show up unannounced and throw his hat in the ring somewhere if he's back in the States.
And I think he will.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the tournaments that he has in the surrounding area, I think it's pretty diverse. That so many great opportunities for him to do that over there.
Cleave it to Diener. That's a good one.
Cleave it to Diener.
Yeah. So anyway, man, that's the event, and I think the fact that they threw a left-handed match in there at the end was interesting. I mean, obviously Devon wasn't losing round 6 right-handed. I mean, we all know that. Michael was conceding. He knew he was beat. And for the sake of the show, it made it a little bit interesting that they threw a left-handed match in there. Yeah, I don't know. Here's a good question, though. How do you think a guy like Schoolboy fares against, let's say, the top 10 super heavyweight in UAWL, for instance?
I don't know if he's quite there yet. Like, so if you go Devon, no. Michael, no. Dave Chapey, no. Ryan Espy, no. I don't. Matt Mask, no. I mean, if you go down that list, I don't think he's.
Okay, let's say like take a guy like.
Here's a good match for him.
Does he have anything for Chance Shaw?
I think that'd be a great match. I think, oh man, Chance. I don't know why this came to my head right away, but I think like a good match for Schoolboy would be like an Ian Carnegie.
I was gonna say Andrew Bagansky.
Or Andrew Bagansky. Yeah, I mean, there's a million good matches for a guy like Schoolboy over here in North America.
Oh, Spencer Doucette says Schoolboy versus Mike Aiello, and
I
think Mike is okay. Mike is a notch below the top guys, but he is right there with the rest of us. Like,
yeah,
his last performance, I hear something was out in that. Like, but he,
the one in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Something said there was a little more afoot there than what we necessarily saw. So,
yeah, he didn't look very good. He didn't look like.
Yeah. Derek Smith. Somebody said Derek Smith. Derek Smith is a giant. Schoolboy is like, isn't he like unusually tall, like 6'5" or something like that?
You know what? I honestly don't know, but I mean, man, Derek Smith looked pretty killer in Nevada.
Yeah, I don't know, Derek. That'd be a hell of a test. We'd certainly sort out the pecking order for sure.
Yeah.
But we all need to get back to some good old-fashioned tournament arm wrestling as well.
Oh man, I feel it's coming. We hope, hopefully by fall we're there.
I can't wait. I'm training in this all lockdown situation, so
I'm right beside you, man. It's going to be exciting to get back on the table.
yeah. 6'5", 270. That's a big dude, man.
That is. I didn't think, man. That's Schoolboy.
That's Schoolboy. He was 277. It said. All the guys are saying in the chat. So I mean, that's bananas. Like he's a big kid. What can I say?
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, yeah, great card. I mean, I think this kind of just sets up for an even more interesting card on June 12th. I really do. I think that card's going to be off the wall.
100%. 100%. I don't know. And what? Yeah.
I think you look at what's that?
That's only 2 weeks away.
And I think if you look at a lot of the guys coming out of the West, I think they're almost in the same situation as maybe I shouldn't say the same situation, but I don't think the training, just maybe due to the COVID, is at the level of the guys in the East. I know Todd Zilla is pretty much coming in, on a very short training camp. Matt Mass coming in on a short training camp. I guess Herman Stevens is Herman Stevens and always will be. I'm not sure where his training's been at.
He trained last year. He doesn't need to train this year.
Yeah, so who else is? I can't think who else is going over there.
You got somebody's going over there to pull Giannis. Oh no, I'm getting mixed up. I'm looking at the Arm Wars card.
You got Sarah Arena.
That's a solid match. We'll find out what they've been doing.
Todd and Zolev.
Because Schoolboy weighed in heavier than everyone other than Devon. And the crazy thing is, Devon was much leaner than Schoolboy. Yeah. Anyway, my friend, this was our impromptu jump on live show. So anyone in the chat got any questions, we'll address them. But otherwise,
hey, if you guys not doing nothing Sunday, tune into the Total Arm Wrestling League Facebook page. We have some good super matches going down at 1 p.m. PST. Headlined by two national pullers, Jesse Halliday versus Marlon Hicks. Should be interesting. So tune in and give
those
that a
guys
watch.
are arm wrestling each other?
Yeah, tomorrow, left hand and right hand. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, main event. Marlon Hicks apparently has put on 20 to 30 pounds of muscle.
I was going to say you'd have to. You would have to.
That'll be really interesting. I haven't seen it personally. That's just allegedly, so we will see.
Yeah, Hermes Desperini agreed, said, yeah, Devon wasn't fat. No, he was not. As big and all the memes about him with the, yeah, he was just thick, man. He was not fat. And it was a spooky sight to see, if somebody should do a transformation for the last 6 weeks and just take snapshots of his face along the way. And
let me ask you, let me throw this out here. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Sounds deep, buddy.
For a guy, I don't know if Devon or anybody for that matter, when you can sustain that level of growth or weight gain without really jeopardizing your health. I could be completely wrong here, but there are sacrifices that come with doing that. Is it sustainable? To see that Devon can sustain a 300-pound weight, I'm not too sure it is.
It's an interesting topic, and we're making a lot of presumptions, but I don't know.
It would be
there's only one way to find out, and that's just waiting and seeing, if this is like the peak, like he truly earned himself that nickname No Limits with this one, because he has gone far beyond
yes,
anything we have seen. Like, he is mega Devon here.
It's one of those things with, like, I guess it all translates into a match with Levan. He would need to be the Devon of yesterday, if not even bigger. So it's one of those ones where, do you go back to the 240-pound Devon for a while and then ramp back up? I don't think it's sustainable to walk around for the next year or two at 300 pounds.
No, not for him.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by sustainable. Like,
yeah, no.
Yeah,
I think he will fluctuate up and down. So
I don't even know if that's very.
If you do it 2 or 3 times a year, I mean, that's maybe a realistic thing.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently in the chat, somebody said that Devon said he will drop down and then come back up, rise again. So,
it's almost, to me, it's almost like the Todd Hutchings when he pulled Matt at WL. He got really ill after that match. He was in the hospital, I believe.
Really?
I believe so. Yeah. I think there was
news to me, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak something that's not true, but I believe I remember hearing about that.
Well, let's tread carefully when we go down this path, my friend.
Why? What do you mean?
I don't want to make too many presumptions.
I didn't make any presumptions. Yeah, I just asked if it was just, I'm just asking if it's, hey, what guys do? I have no idea, because I would be speaking completely out of my ass to suggest anything. I'm just asking if a 300-pound, it's the same with a 250-pound Todd Hutchins. Are those guys at that weight sustainable? Can they sustain it? It's
hard to say.
I don't know.
And Todd at 235. I mean, somebody said 235. That's a lot for him. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of weight to put on for him.
Yep.
Hard to say.
It'd be, it takes a toll on your body when you fluctuate. I always look back to engineering and the cyclical events of an up and down motion. So if you look at a coat hanger and you twist that coat hanger, you keep twisting, eventually it breaks. It's the same thing when your body goes up and goes down, up and down, up and down. It's no different than energy moving through a pipeline. When you got cyclical pressure on a pipeline and it's constantly expanding and retracting, eventually it cracks. So how long can a guy do that? How long can a guy go to 300 pounds, back down to this, back up, back down, back up? I don't know.
I can only speak on it from the other perspective, going down then coming back up. All right, buddy.
Thoughts? Are we done?
I don't know, because everybody's different. Like, you hear about guys doing things that other guys do all the time, and it kills them. But, it's genetics play into it. I mean, Devon is a guy that has put his body through more stuff than any 10 of us. Like, it's as far as his training and
hey, here, let me ask you this question a different way. What would you from an outside perspective, what would you think would be best for Devon going forward? What's his best path forward for his health, for his consistency in arm wrestling? What do you think he should do?
It depends what he wants, because if none of this shit is healthy, so training for arm wrestling, putting on as much weight you can to be as strong as you can, it doesn't matter what you put in your body to assist you to do that. You're going to need to eat a lot of stuff that you shouldn't be eating, and it's not healthy. So even a professional bodybuilder that is at, a low level of body fat, your heart still has to pump blood through all of that muscle tissue.
That's exactly right.
Just as unhealthy to do that as it is to pump through a big fat guy that weighs the same. So it's a catch-22. Some guys that look incredibly healthy aren't. Devon at 220 is a picture of health. He looks like he can run across the country, but it depends what he wants to do. Is staying at 300 pounds for him the best course for his health? Probably not. Probably not. In fact, I can say with absolute certainty that, making a choice to try to maintain that weight is not the healthiest decision. But we're human, and we don't always make the best choices for our health.
Yeah.
We have other goals. We have other goals in mind. Anybody that, tries to push the limits in any sport in any way, it's probably not the best for longevity as far as general overall health.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where both guys go from here. I think it's exciting to see Devon at this level. I'm just interested to see how much it can be sustained.
If Devon Larratt were to pull Levan tomorrow and just destroy him, what do you think the chances are he just says, he just drops the mic and that is it? I'm out.
I think the chances of that happening are really good, and that's why it's kind of where I'm going with this. Like, I think, let's say he stayed at this weight, pulled Levan 3 weeks from now. I think there's a good chance that he's proven everything that Devon needs to prove. And I think I don't know if he drops the mic, but I think he really dials it back. I think he drops back down to that 240, 220, or that 230 range and just coasts.
Because it's arguably anybody that can achieve the world #1 ranking twice in such a fashion, arguably is the best of all times. John Berzink might never be surpassed, but he also pulled in a much different environment. Devon Larratt were to pull Levan 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, and he crushes him in similar fashion, or just even wins. Mm-hmm. It's very hard for anybody to say he's not the greatest ever. And at that point, he could just not do anything in arm wrestling as a sport or dial it back. But the problem is he's also a guy that really likes to be the best and challenge for #1. And would he be happy being the best 230-pound guy and not necessarily the best? We're getting pretty philosophical on this, but yeah.
It's good debate, and it is, but it's all interesting debate.
There's going to be a period where we're all going to push for, Devon to have that big match, and I want to see it.
I just don't know if it happens.
But there's somebody standing in the.
That's where I'm going with it. There's somebody that's very. I don't think
the only way Devon gets that match is if he leaves the World Arm Wrestling League,
which I think is,
and signs with Igor and sells his soul over there, and then he is stuck in the top 8, and he's got to go through the multitude of matches, and it would eventually peak with him meeting Levan at the end.
I really don't like Oh man, you're so correct. I don't like Igor's approach. Igor is so protective of his brand, and I think deep down in Igor's soul, he knows that the chances of Devon beating Levan are very high. And I think that he needs to protect Levan and the PAL and the Mazarenko brand. And I think he makes getting to Levan such a far throw that we don't see this happen for maybe a couple of years. If I just, it's unfortunate. I just think this match needs to happen like fucking tomorrow, and it just won't.
So there's two questions I want to address in here, and they tagged me, so I'm gonna bring them up. But like I said before, if Chafee beats Levan, then Devon moves to number one, and that's it, and that's that debate over. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just the way it is. Or, of course, we were all pushing for Levan to pull Michael. We wanted it to happen in Dubai. Wouldn't happen. Igor wouldn't let it happen. It appears Igor has absolute power over Levan. And so the Devon match only happens if Devon somehow can invade that territory and go through all the bullshit to get to that match. But the question here, Brian says, what do you think about the Levan Devon match if it were to happen in a month's time? I think Devon wins it, man.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's just a guess.
It is a guess. If Devon shows up in how he was yesterday, 2 days ago? Holy shit, no, it was yesterday. What am I talking about? If he shows up looking like he did yesterday and performing like he did yesterday, I believe that Devon Larratt wins that match.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to create any one arm wrestler that beats Levan, it's Devon Larratt right now, and it just needs to happen. Not sure if it will.
Yeah, Wax On, Wax Off says, do you believe yesterday was a bigger dismantle than the 6-0 Devon did to Berzink? Yes, because Berzink was competitive in the early rounds.
Yeah. Somebody posted, Igor just posted Dennis beating Devon on his channel and made it available to only a few countries. Yeah, but we're talking left-handed here.
Bullshit. We're talking about a left-handed match, and we're talking about a match where Devon, it was older versions. Like, you can find matches of everybody loses, man. Everybody loses. You can find matches where Dennis loses, although they're not very common because, honestly, Devon or Dennis doesn't pull that often. I mean, you can find matches of Richard Lupke's pulling Dennis right over, and he ends up eventually losing the match. But I mean, yeah, that's bullshit that he would pull up that match. And
it's got no relevance to what we're asking.
No.
Yeah. Anyways, all kinds of interesting things. Let's see where it goes. And I mean, I hope, but I don't think Igor will pull that stick out of his ass and allow this match to happen without a very difficult path to Levan. Maybe not. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, maybe Chafee beats Levan and we don't even.
I hope he does, man. Put this out there right now. Dave Chafee I hope he smashes Levan. I really do. I just hope he does.
Me too, man. I'm cheering for. Yeah. I don't have any ill will, but towards Levan, I think he's a decent guy. But Dave, I'm a fan of, and
it's not Levan. It's Igor's brand that I want to see be humbled.
Yeah, I just hope there's no. I hope the same thing happens that I said with Michael versus Devon. It's a one-sided beatdown, one way or another.
Yeah.
And no bullshit. Like, I know they like their fouls over there.
Yeah.
Ryan, what's it look like for you? Man, I don't know. What are you talking about? I still can't go outside without consequences. I'm gearing up for something. Like, I'm ready to pull, but I'm just waiting for the world to open before I plan it.
Hey, you'll know this better than I do, Ryan. There was just a comment in the post that Devon's never beaten a European athlete right-handed. That seems a little.
What about Andre Pushkar? Or was that a left-handed match?
I can't. I don't know.
I don't think that's true, but that's an interesting comment. I don't think it's true.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Hermes Desperini, not Canada, Manitoba. So the province, it's like the states, the United States. Florida never shut down. Texas is wide open, but California,
Well,
Pushkar was left. Pushkar won right-handed. Okay. Wow, that's an interesting fact. Phil Cardy, SP versus Schoolboy. Oh, anytime, Phil. Let's set it up. Man, I don't know. Well, that is an interesting fact if it is true.
What's that?
That Devon's never beat a European arm wrestler right-handed.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Very hard to believe.
He beat Pushkar right-handed.
Okay. Yeah, well, the fact of the matter is they have flown Devon over to a lot of places. Oh, he beat Taras Savankum. Or did Taras beat him? Jeez, maybe
I can't remember now. I'm fairly certain Devon beat Pushkar right-handed.
Anyway, there's a lot of times that Devon's been flown over to Europe to arm wrestle against North Americans. But
he is a great ambassador for the sport. I love Devon.
Taras did beat him. Go on. Well, that's fun. I don't know. I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if he pulled Pushkar right-handed or not. I don't know. I can't recall off the top of my head, and it's yeah.
Well, we got 154 people watching. We have
holy smokes. That has got to be a record. We better keep going.
We had 100. We have 51 likes and 1 dislike. Ouch.
Oh, well. The dislikes don't bother me too bad.
It all helps, even the dislikes. Manitoba facing tighter restrictions. Not really, Phil. There's nothing we can do right now that's any tighter other than making us saying we can't go outside at all.
Canada's holding the sausage too, in a sense. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of federal implications that enable or harbor and enable provincial premiers, but not to mention that our federal border is shut down.
I can't play badminton with my neighbor unless it's over the fence.
Hey, Jeff Miller is in the comment, and so I got an event tomorrow. Jeff Miller, drop what you're doing, get in your car, drive to Vancouver, and let's have a match with Clayton Faulkner. You and Clayton Faulkner throw down.
All right.
Like you can just do that, right?
Well, I don't know. All right, my man. We've dropped down to 137, which means we have less things to talk about. So, my friend, it's been a pleasure as usual.
All right, let's do more of these. I like these spontaneous ones where we just jump on there.
I agree.
Cool, man.
All right, we'll talk to you at the next one. Thanks to you all in the chat. See you next time.
Yeah.